Malibu Shores. What happened on Malibu Shores? I watched 10 episodes, like back to back.
I was having to do other things while I watched it too. Um, I'll save my comments because
Yeah,
I
I'm
have.
just trying to remember. I'm like trying to go back.
Well, I mean, the pilot alone put so much stuff into it. I mean,
Yeah, I
two
commented about
teenagers
that.
fell in love in like 2 minutes. I
Stop
can't
talking
live
about it.
without you. I can't live without you.
Stop talking about it. Wait till Candice comes on. You're gonna forget about this.
I won't. No, I won't because I've been thinking about this since I started watching it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I am Tommy, and I'm, as always, joined by Aaron.
Hello, everyone.
And today we have a very special guest. Candice Mack is joining us today.
Hello.
Hi, Candice.
Hey,
Thank you so much for coming on.
not a problem. Thank you for inviting me. This is a party. This is happy hour.
We've been wanting to invite you on for a while. Yes, it is. I'm already on my side. We've been wanting to invite you on for a while now, and we would go back and forth on like, should we wait for this episode because we know she likes this show, or would we this one?
Just have it all the time. Just have me like a special, like, Heaven Lockley, a special guest star, Candice.
Yeah.
We love a special guest star.
So today is a guest choice, and Candice picked the 1996 canceled NBC show, Malibu Shores.
I don't think I've ever watched a show so fast because I had to be ready for today. Tommy gave me my assignment. It was like, you need to watch this. I was like, that's 10 episodes. I got like 2 days. All right, I'll make it work.
What a time to be, back in 96, Saturday night. Oh,
It was on Saturday nights, right? I remember it was weird. I vividly remember it being like it was on Saturdays, and then when I was looking up promos, it said Saturday night. I'm like, that's why it got canceled. It was on Saturdays.
well, no, I always say that the reason it got canceled because I think it was around the time the Olympics was. I think it was either Summer Olympics or Winter, some kind of sporting thing was was happening, and I think another reason too is, and I always will say this to my last breath, is marketing. I felt as though it was strong in the beginning because it's an Aaron Spelling show. Of course, you would promote Aaron Spelling. Who wouldn't? But after a while, it wasn't promoted as heavy as some of the other shows that was on NBC at that time. I think it was, it was that phase of what is good TV for teenagers, because this was the young adult Saturday night, and that's when you had, I think Cops were still on, and you had the Saturday night movies, so they kind of lost their promos, and it's kind of weird now, unless you were, somebody who knew the actors from other shows, that they were. Remember Street Teams? That used to do like Street Teams was like a group of people that would promote for you. So back in the 90s, especially with Malibu Shores, you had people who represented the Power Rangers Street Team, and they would promote the show because Walter Jones, who played Zach on Power Rangers, was on Malibu Shores. So you had saying, okay, support Walter Jones because, once a Power Ranger, always a Power Ranger. Check him out on Malibu Shores. Yeah. And of course, there was it was a big street team for this little show called the Mickey Mouse Club. I don't know if anybody heard about it. It came on the Disney Channel. It was
just a little show.
But
it was on for like 40 years. I don't know.
I don't know half of the people on there, but they had, the street team of the MMC had people out there promoting because Kerry Russell and Tony Luca, who played Zach and Chloe, was on the Mickey Mouse Club. They was like one of the popular couples because they dated in real life, and there was a show within a show called Emerald Cove, which
oh my gosh, I loved Emerald Cove.
Oh my God.
I found it on YouTube a few years ago. Like they put all because Emerald Cove was like a 5-minute clip that they slipped into MMC, and somebody took all of it and put it together in like a movie format. So I have it, and I could share it if you guys want to watch it.
I have the half an hour episodes.
Okay.
Because it was a half an hour show. See, we talk. This is like it goes into with Malibu Shores people follow us.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, it was the reason why I watched Malibu Shores because you're right. They must have promoted it heavily in the beginning because there's no way I would have just known that Kerry Russell and Tony Luca were on the show at 10 years old.
I think I was 14. So I just remember, the teen magazines like Tutti Frutti, 16, Bob. TB. This is really showing our ages right here, folks.
Tiger Beat.
Description of that. But they upcoming like MMC now, where can you find them? And they had said that Carrie and Tony booked upcoming pilot that was from Aaron Spelling. First and foremost, Aaron Spelling and my people from Mickey Mouse Club on Emerald. I'm like,
so
I'm gonna.
Yeah, because I'm very much, if Aaron Spelling's name's attached to it, I'm like, there's gonna be drama. I'm there.
Right, because they were kind of. For most of us, we remember, 90210. I mean, the '90s was Aaron. Prior to the '90s, yes, Aaron Spelling was a big name, But in the '90s, for teen dramas, Aaron Spelling was dominating that. I mean, you took a look at Fox. You had 90210, Merrill's Place. You had Models Inc.
Mm-hmm. He did a little show called Pacific Palisades also.
With that one too, but then like on the WB when it first came out, Savannah. So they were kind of looking for the next 90210 because that's when some of the characters from the original 90210 was growing up, and I think they kind of knew that they were losing that demo that made such a big show. So then you have Malibu Shores, the same format of 90210, but little different. I always said that Zach and Chloe was quote unquote Brenda and Dylan.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, when I was watching it too, I saw a lot of Ryan and Marissa.
Okay, I was gonna say that. I was getting OC vibes from it.
That was before OC even happened.
I know, and I was like, well, I guess this was the OC before the OC.
It was all these teen drama angst that you had. You had the good girl who wanted to kind of be like a rebel, but she had to be like, she was Sandy from Grease. Chloe was Sandy.
Yeah.
Think about that, folks. And then you had Zach, who, and I met Tony Luca before, and I kind of said this to him. I said, Zach was sort of like a baby Luke Perry.
Yeah.
He was,
did y'all think, like, his name, Zach Morrison? All I could think about was Saved by the Bell and Zach Morris. I was just like, were they trying to?
I was like, Zach Morris, son. Really?
I was like, are you serious? I was like, okay, and I do think that they meant to do that because they know how popular Zach Morris, Saved by the Bell. I mean, that was again around that time where they were doing the college years. I think that's what it was. So everybody.
No, I think Tiffany was already on 90210.
Yeah. So it was the cancellation of those. Look, it was so many cancellations in the '90s for teens shows that we watched. But yeah, I mean, you had Zach and you had his crew, and they all had different personas. And I think I really wish it went on for season 2. I really do.
The pilot,
so full disclosure, this was actually my first time watching the whole thing.
Mine too. My first time seeing any of it. I've
had them. I've had them for years. But I remember watching, I think I watched the first 3 episodes and I was just kind of like, I'm not really feeling it. And I never really continued on. Right. So this was my first time watching the whole thing. And by episode 4, I was like, oh, I need this to continue.
Like, I really liked the pilot because I felt like it was setting up this Romeo and Juliet type of relationship, but they fell in love real fast. Like, I feel like it was fast.
I mean, we have to bend reality.
I know, but I was like,
we had 10 episodes. We had to put a lot into it.
I watched One Tree Hill. I'm all about bending reality. But I felt like even they were too fat. Like I was like, ooh, y'all got together real fast, like running off with each other.
There was a point where she said "I love you" to him, and he didn't say it back, but it wasn't a thing. And I always feel like that's an issue in a teen drama. Like he said "thank you" or he didn't say anything, and they just like moved past it. I was like, oh, all right.
I will say this show reminded me why I love Carrie Russell so much, and now I want to go watch Felicity. I want to watch The Americans. I just want to see more of her.
Aaron, we got to do a watch party then. We have to do. I said, like, I adopted you guys. You guys are going to hang out. But no, I think to me when I watch this show and I've watched it, I just get into a mood of just like I need to go back into my past because I feel as though some of the great shows were back from then. And don't say it's just shows now. Shout out to all you guys creating. But I'm just like, when did you like with these two characters of Chloe? I feel as though, and I have friends who will say this now is that they couldn't relate to Chloe. They couldn't relate to the show because they were all pretty, and that was true. I mean, but then again,
90210 was all pretty people.
Yeah, I mean, but I think because we're going into, let me see, that was 96. So like the grunge, that was the, you don't have to be perky and blonde and everything else, a little messy. And I think with this show, because again, a lot of people called it the next generation's 90210. And you take a look at it, they had the same, kind of characteristics. You did have the, again, the good girl who wanted to be a rebel. You had the best friend who felt she was not popular, who lost her virginity to the popular guy. By the way, that was the first time I saw Greg Vaughn.
I think for me too.
Oh, the first time I saw him was in this movie Poison Ivy.
With Jamie Presley.
Yes, that's when I discovered him, and we discovered a lot of him in that movie. I was like, wow.
I didn't see that until after I saw him on Malibu Shores, and anybody who knows me knows that he is like one of my top, like in my head, boyfriends. I was like, yes, please, thank you. And he was such a jerk.
He was. But he kind of came around towards the middle. Like Nina got him. She good for Nina. She had all the boys wanting her. I was like, the third one, I was kind of like, good for you. And then he tried to rape her, and I was like, okay, no, that's not good.
So like with Nina, okay, I had so many issues with Nina, but as I got older, I kind of can appreciate her. But back then, I was so like, girl, if you don't sit somewhere and keep your hot tail down, like, I did it, like you felt as though you wanted to be, because when we picked up with the show, so just to give you the format here, prior to the pilot, I guess Chloe was sort of the outcast, like, she had her she's all that moment where at the party, because everybody was talking about, oh my gosh, look how much weight she got pretty, and Nina's just like, you're so gorgeous. Oh, nobody wants to hang around me. And I'm just thinking, you're equally as beautiful as Chloe. What the? Okay, I must be watching this completely different. And then she's kind of crushing on Josh, who wouldn't. And then it's like,
it was cringy. She literally was like throwing herself on the bed and like, I was like, come on, be more confident. And then she had the condom
in her. I'm like, are you real?
It was hard. It was really hard to watch that.
It was terrifying. But back in the day, if you really think about it, you always had that one character who was so desperate to be popular that they would do about anything or anybody to get achievement. And I'm just like, now as like
I went to school with a few of those kinds of people, so
yeah,
it's real.
I mean, it is real, and sometimes I feel like I should have slapped some people because I'm just like, is it worth it at the end? Because yeah, Nina did have Josh, and Josh had his insecurities as well. He was the popular guy. Oh, boo hoo. And then, he has all these girls, and then he's trying to find his sensitive side. Yet, he doesn't
He has
want
an
to have.
alcohol problem.
Don't we? Isn't every teen drama have an alcoholic?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one went to AA, like, boom, like they put him in AA. I was like, oh, we talking about AA, okay.
It's weird because I felt like even though it was like a continuing drama, like as far as like the characters interacting, I also felt like there were standalone episodes. Like, oh, this is the bulimia episode. Oh, this is the one where the one black character gets shot.
Mm-hmm. Or the teacher when the teacher was kind of being a little creepy.
Yeah, oh, this is the child molester episode.
The thing about that, like, I was glad they didn't like fantasize it to where the student was like, oh my, like they made it okay. Like Pretty Little Liars has made it okay. Like this one's like, oh, he going to jail.
Yeah, like, I did like that.
Look at Malibu Shores showing what needs to be done.
Yeah.
I mean, they had some really good episodes, and you touched on the bulimia thing. The bulimia episode, and I was just rewatching that because I wanted to make sure something, because again, going back to the pilot, when they talked about her weight, you kind of, if you think about it, that was sort of a topic that was there, but it wasn't as big as it became until that episode.
See, I was hoping they would build more up to it, like just put those little hints in there.
Well, even the teacher episode, if you remember, the teacher said, I didn't hardly recognize you. And then that's when Chloe had said, oh, it's because, I lost some weight and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's interesting how everybody, like in some sort of way, they talked about Chloe's weight, or the fact that she was this, again, the good student who had the good grades, and she was the good friend, and she was the good daughter. And you kind of heard that throughout the episodes, is that she's there. She's always, trying to do the right thing. And for once, she wanted to break free, and she wanted to be with this good-looking guy.
She didn't want to be perfect.
Right, okay, besides cutting her hair, which, later on, Felicity. Well, one day when y'all talk about Felicity, I'm going to be listening.
You might be here.
But no, each character, they did kind of carve out so you can sympathize with them. Like with Zach, his father, didn't have the best job. Everybody's parent wasn't perfect. Teddy's parent,
he tried to burn his house down on the pilot.
What that is called? That is called really needing some attention from your parent. But I'm sorry. You try to burn my house down, and you're my kid. I may love you, but guess where I'm putting you at? I'll see you in 60 days, buddy. And but it's so crazy because when you as you get older, you rewatch some of these things. You do, again, like I said, you take a look at the show a little different. Yeah. And like Teddy, obviously from jump, I've always said this, Teddy was the needy one. I mean, Nina is one thing. Teddy, look, being rich does not solve all your problems. But when you have a photographer as your father who's, lusting after models, who is trying to replace your mother, and you have that insecurity, and of course, he's trying to be like, he's hanging around the right people, but he's not feeling like himself, and he's trying to be something. And yeah, you brought up, like, he got into fights, and he tried to, like, I guess because of how he was towards other people, nobody would believe that he would start a fight, or he would burn down a house, or he would hit somebody in a car or something like that. Because it's Teddy. Like, it's Teddy. Nobody would think Teddy would do anything.
Okay, something that's it's a little bit off topic, but I'm going to bring it back to Malibu Shores. I want to see if you noticed this too, Candice.
Okay.
So, did you ever watch Wild and Crazy Kids?
Yes, I did.
Did you notice that Donnie Jeffcoat was the one with Barry Watson daring Teddy to walk the pole on the pier? I was like, I looked at it, I was like, that's Donnie Jeffcoat. And then I had to go on IMDb just to make sure I was right. And I was like, wow.
I think crazy thing is Malibu Shores, you can see people that later on was teach or the OC, like later on. Also other shows like, oh god, I can't think of her name, but she was on USA High. She was on a lot of those shows.
That's who the blonde was. The nerdy girl that became pretty at the end.
Or is that like the call?
I'm like, she looks so familiar. I've seen her in something.
Yeah.
Like I always say that I always call her Violet, and that was a shout out to Tori Spelling on Saved by the Bell. I'm saying, like, okay, we see you, Malibu Shores, trying to play some Saved by the Bell into this. But we had Barry Watson. You're right.
You went on to Seventh Heaven, which was an Aaron Spelling show.
You had Tori
Susan Ward. Susan Ward?
Yeah, Susan Ward was there. She went to
Sunset Beach.
And, Elizabeth Carpenter, who, I think she went on to the show called Buffy as Cordelia.
I honestly felt like Cordelia was in an alternate universe called Malibu Shores.
She was meaner.
Oh, look.
She was meaner than Cordelia. I felt like she had like no redeeming qualities. Cordelia.
I'm gonna say they were on the same level.
You think so? I felt like she was rough in this one.
If I closed my eyes and just listened to her, I felt like I was watching Buffy.
Well, yeah, it sounds like Cordelia.
Because the way she would talk to her friends, or Randy Spelling, I felt like was a Xander.
Yeah. I didn't like how they made fun of Casey, like calling her fat, and like I'm like, she has a beautiful body. She's curvy. She's not a toothpick like you guys are.
Casey was the character that I feel as though they should have focused more on.
Oh, going back to the episode of the week, I felt like, oh, this is the homeless episode where Casey's homeless.
like she has to live with the rich people, like other has to just the maid, and like I said, Casey to me was the character that I think a lot of people we talked about this earlier, is that not a lot of people could, really connect with certain people. Mm-hmm. But Casey, to me, she came close to representing us. She was rich.
Uh-huh.
She wasn't blonde. I keep doing this every time because they kept doing the show. Okay. Yeah. You went through her journey, and I really wish this is why the show would have continued, because we found out so much about Casey that she had a lot of little secrets too. Mm-hmm. Not like big secrets or anything, but the fact is, and this is one thing, never judge a book by cover, because there was a scene where somebody had said, oh, she's very sexual. She's very sexual active. And we find out that she's a virgin.
And they wrote slut on her locker.
Right. Mm-hmm. Those kids, see, they could
the whole I just went blank on Kerry Russell's name. I just see Kerry Russell. Chloe. Okay. And Zach and Casey remind me of Teresa and Teresa.
Mm-hmm.
I
felt like the Valley was just Chino.
Yeah.
I saw so many similarities between those two shows that it was.
And I felt like Nina was like a female version of Seth Cohen, just for awkwardness.
Yes. Oh my gosh, is the OC just the remake of Malibu Shores?
So also fun fact, Greg Vaughn was in an episode of Buffy where he dated Charisma Carpenter's character. They
were trying to do a lot. They were trying to get the audience that was kind of dropping off of 90210. They were trying to pick up again. I always say this, is that if you were an MMC fan, you were going to watch this because it featured two of our favorite people in the world, Tony and Carrie. It was a really good show. And not only that, but even for those who didn't even know Carrie and Tony and Charisma and Walter and Greg, they knew Randy, obviously. Spelling, that was a given. Not only that, but you also had Michelle Phillips.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I told my boyfriend I needed to do homework this weekend so he could go to bed and I needed to watch the stuff. So I'm watching it and he must have glanced at the TV and he was like, wow. He's like, this show has a pretty all-star cast, huh? And I'm like, good for you knowing stuff. He's like, Michelle Phillips? I'm like...
that was, it was such a good show. I love the music. Bum, bum, ba, da, da, da. It was so poignant.
I felt like they gave away some scenes in the opening credits, like Chloe seeing Casey kiss Zach. I feel like that was in the credits before it happened.
Yeah, it was, because you had some of this, because the pilot was the Cranberries' Dream. Pilot, and then they did show some stuff that was going to happen towards the season.
Yeah.
Casey did. I was like, ooh. I was like, no, ooh. And then, that was the teen angst of that show. Oh man, that was a good show.
Some of the 90s dance music at the parties, I was like, oh my god, I remember this song.
I did too. I was kind of just like, oh my gosh, they played that in my school. Like, but of course, nobody had nobody had, and the beach parties. You can tell this was an Aaron Spelling show because first and foremost, they used the same. I always say the same beach for everybody.
I feel like I see some set crossover with his shows. I'm like, I've seen that building on Melrose Place. Or like, that looks like Michael's beach house from Melrose Place.
The same one is 90210. It's the same one as Sunset Beach. It's the same one. I so many shows. You're right.
I'm pretty sure that Chloe's house, the pool area anyway, is the exterior of Kelly Taylor's house from 90210. I was like, I've seen Jackie laying by that pool. Jackie Taylor.
It is. It really is. It's like, it really is. It's the same house.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what was. I think it was when I went to California for like a trip. We did the sightseeing tour and everything, and they actually back then had the Aaron Spelling site tour. Okay.
Sorry.
Certain places and whatnot that, of course, was popular. Of course, they took them to Beverly Hills. Come on now, you already know we did. Everything. There's no. I was disappointed to find out there was no real most place, but it's Melrose Avenue. I'm still salty about that. But they said, well, we can't take you to this place because they're filming this, this, and this. But they showed us the pictures, and underneath they said where certain shows have been filmed, and that was actually one of the places. And they said this is Kelly Taylor's place. They also said upcoming Melrose Place something, and I was like, oh, so they reused a lot of the same.
I think Peter's house in like the later seasons of Melrose Place may have been Kelly Taylor's house.
There were so many places Kelly Taylor's house. I mean, that school, that was okay. So remember, where the school that they went to, Pacific Coast High, was Bayside.
See, I was like, it looks familiar. I was trying to think where I saw it. I'm like, maybe this is just Torrance High School, but like a different part of it. And then I was like, maybe this is where they shot the pilot for 90210 because some of the lockers look familiar. But,
so yeah. The Malibu Shores. I mean, seriously, it was a good show. Like I said, I will say it. I wish they would have came back for second season or to finish it because it's a cliffhanger.
So the way that it ended, go ahead, Aaron.
I was just gonna say I kind of like the ending. I was like, oh, are we gonna get a true cliffhanger? But I think they just ride off into the sunset. They go to Mexico. They end up getting married, just living out their life.
It was like a mid-season show. It started in March, so I feel like it was like a legit season finale because of all the cliffhangers.
Yeah.
Even though I do feel like some things were a little bit rushed, like maybe they knew they were getting canceled and they were just trying to wrap everything up in 10 minutes as much as possible. But
yeah. I wish they, like I said, I think it was the Summer Olympics that took that. Yeah, because they were supposed to come back after the Olympics.
mm-hmm.
They were going to be part of the fall schedule. And I feel that with that cliffhanger, it was like, again, Zach in trouble. What is Chloe going to do? Because Chloe broke out of her rehab.
I was like, I guess she's not bulimic anymore.
Especially after, what was the girl's name that fell out?
I don't remember her name, but I remember I saw her on Sabrina, the teenage witch.
Oh, I didn't recognize her from anything.
Oh, that's where I recognized her from.
I think that's what made Chloe kind of just like, oh my God, this is a serious situation. I can't stay in here. I gotta go. Like, because she put into, and with all shows, you know, and especially with Soul too, rehab not 30 days. It's 2 hours if you're given that. It's a very serious situation. You can solve your problem in 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag.
And then we never speak of it again. Especially on Aaron's spelling show. We never speak of it again.
Somebody else like down the line that they have the same problem. They was like, you understand, you were never like that. And Chloe, I just saw this. Chloe said, I used to like you. A lot of pressure, and you just want to be perfect. That would have been it. But yeah, I wanted to know, you know, we had Ted, Nina. Yay.
But I feel like if they knew they were coming back, they would have kept us thinking that the guy that tried to rape Nina was dead. They wouldn't have said, oh, he's in a coma.
Yeah, like,
and then we would have thought they were on the run.
Season 2, he's alive.
Yeah, but he's in a coma.
Exactly, he shouldn't have been. Should have just kept on walking.
Just like Ryan Atwood, always trying to save someone, but getting himself in trouble.
It like, you already know you got people already on your back, your neck, Zach. Like, come on now, you Teddy gonna be like, I'm Teddy. I don't do anything wrong. I'm like, come on. I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, except set your house on fire.
Oh, like they made some jokes in that sometimes. I wish he would have been like, "Man, don't test me. I'll set your house on fire."
They were calling him Firecracker. The bullies that were making fun of him.
Look at Darker Star, and then he was like, "Don't let them get you, Teddy." And he was like, he would take a deep breath, and he'll be like, and I'm like, and but
I think Teddy would have been the perfect character to have his own coming out story in season 2.
Yeah, I thought that too. To be honest, I really did think that. And there was an episode, I think it was either the pilot or it was one of the episodes where I think his father even kind of looked at him a certain type of way when he was around. I want to say Nina. It was either Nina or Chloe.
Yes, I know what moment you're talking about.
When she has said, oh, I think it's sweet of you guys to take Teddy along with you. And I'm like, okay, Teddy is that character that needs to be babyfied. He's very insecure about himself. And you could tell that he's missing some kind of confidence. I feel sorry. I felt bad for Teddy, but at the same time, I was like, hey, you burn my house down.
I like the show. My critiques with it would be like, I felt like they weren't sure what they wanted to do with certain characters, because one minute like Teddy and Josh were friends, but then it's like they're best friends and he's done his homework for him his whole life. You know, like I feel like they were just kind of like they rushed to develop this show in some sense instead of thinking about the characters and where the characters. They just you know what, we'll figure it out later.
What was Essence Atkins' character's name? I can't remember her name.
Oh,
really?
I mean, if I say I was going to say if I got in trouble, but
I think it was Julie.
I think it was Julie. Wait, was it Julie? You guys do not want to know what was going to think, okay? I'm just going to say that there was with all these shows in the 90s, and we kind of broke away from it. There was always stereotype characters.
Mm-hmm.
It was Julie.
It was Julie. I liked her because she kind of broke away from like the snobby girl group, and she was like, I think he's cute, so I'm gonna go out with him.
Mm-hmm.
I like that she was kind of like defying, and then they were just like, whatever.
I liked her character. I'm gonna be honest. Back then, I did not like her. I thought she was very snobby too. I thought you were just rolling with, I'm gonna use this because it's the 90s. She was rolling with the homes, okay? She was rolling with her crew.
Throwing some clues.
Thing is that, she, to me, in the beginning, she was follow the leader.
Mm-hmm.
But then, towards, I'm going to say third episode, 4 episodes in, she started to kind of put a little separation between what she knows she's supposed to do and defy, the tribe.
Yeah.
The show for it, before it run was really good. And there were some things that was kind of fast paced, but it's soap. I always say, some things you gotta bend that belief. But I just, for what it was worth, it was really good. It was a really good show.
I think what would have helped me, they would have had like a detention episode. They put all the main characters together where they had to learn about each other.
Like a Breakfast Club episode.
Yeah, and then that way, that kind of could explain how they would feel differently about each other as episodes. Because Julie started with Chloe's,
or maybe even like a field trip, like a ski trip where they get like snowed into like a cabin together, and they have to be forced to like get to know each other.
Yeah, that way, just as they kind of intertwine as it goes on, it'd make a little bit more sense than just this storyline or this plot is why we've got these two together right now.
Yeah. And I think they're kind of doing that when was shot. When Walter Jones' character.
Flipper?
Yeah. Flipper.
Hang on, I have it on the cast list.
Like this tells you something. We're like,
he was Mouse.
I know his real name was Michael because they were like, "What's your real name?" And he was like, "Michael."
They called him Mouse.
Yeah, Mouse. Flipper with Randy spelling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was just like okay, when you have that kind of moment when somebody gets shot and it's like it does affect because it could have been one of you guys, and then you have the parents saying, "Oh, thank God it wasn't you." What about this kid? The kid shot. Like, I'm glad that your kid is okay, but
my one dislike of this entire show was the fact that we brought Brian Austin Green in for a little like, hey, I'm out of jail. I'll see you later.
That was the most pointless cameo ever.
I was
he's like, hey, I'm out of jail. I can't stay. You know how it is. They like gave him like a whole storyline in 3 minutes and then he left.
When I first saw him, I was like, ooh, we're going to have a good episode. Brian Austin Green's here. He's going to get in trouble. And then he's like, bye. And I never saw him again. I was like, well, now I'm not looking forward to when Tori Spelling shows up because I bet she's just like, hey, here's a drink.
At least Tori had a storyline.
I know. I was.
Well, I mean, come on now. It's Tori Spelling. Did just think she wasn't going to have a storyline?
That's true.
That is true.
Her daddy on the show.
There was one creepy scene though where Randy gave her a tip and was like, he like winked at her and was like, keep the change. I was like, that's a little cringy. I don't really like that. That's your sister.
You put the money down, you're supposed to be acting flirtation. I kept thinking to myself, I was like, nobody gonna talk about how y'all look alike?
I'm like, you're clearly related. You look like brother and sister.
I'm gonna say if she was gonna do like a kind of seductive thing with him, I would have like, okay, you know what, NBC, we take two. I know this is an Aaron Spelling show, but even Aaron Spelling would not allow this. Like, what the heck? Like, come on.
That was a
This
season
isn't-
2. That was a season 2 storyline. Tori was going to come back for a longer arc,
Oh my god.
and we were going to find out that they were siblings.
Oh my god.
You know,
Tori and
Yeah.
Greg Vaughn worked together that following season on 90210. He was a fireman.
Yes, he was.
Tori's character on Malibu Shore made me think of Eve from Dawson's Creek. This blonde shell who just comes in and then she gone. We don't talk about her ever again.
I was the ongoing joke was, okay, if they did do a season 2, who else would have appeared on the show?
Mm-hmm.
And I kept saying I wouldn't have been surprised if Luke Perry came on to give that show a little boost.
Yeah.
Or even keeping within the range that the show was in. Amy Jo Johnson, who played Kimberly on Power, was on there. I don't know. That was a nice.
I am a little shocked that they let Tori Spelling on the show, because Fox and NBC were competitors. And even though Aaron Spelling owned it, they almost had Buffy and Angel, him coming on the final season because it was different.
Yeah, but Tori was doing like movies of the week. Like around that time, I think she was doing like Mother May I Sleep with Danger, which is my favorite, by the way.
I'm just saying. I'm still kind of shocked.
Wait a minute, the original, not the Halloween episode.
Not the vampire one, not the James Franco one.
James Franco has ruined so many things.
Again, I had to say that for everybody not to see that movie, that version.
And Tori's in that one too as the mother.
I know, but that's because poor Tori has been down on her luck and just needs the exposure.
Listen, Tori will take any job. She needs the money. She has like 13 kids.
Ooh, I wonder if we can get her on here. I can spot her at 20.
Because I have so many things, like I'm so a little salty about her and that, what was it, the ABC Freeform TV show she did
with Jenny. Yes.
Yeah, Miss Freeform. I did enjoy it, and I really wish it would have stayed on. But
I felt the same way about BH 90210. I just love those people that I need them on my TV.
Yeah.
See, that's why, like with Malibu Shores, I felt as though that's what they were doing. I mean, you had Brian Austin Green, who, you talk about a contract thing. That was a huge. I remember people talking about that. They was like, "Wait, Brian Austin Green is on what?" Tori Spelling, look, she got a pass. Her daddy owned both shows, so she can do whatever she wants. But if her or Shannon, oh my, if Shannon came on the show.
Oh my God. A lot of people don't like Shannon Doherty, but I heart her like so much.
Aaron, name those who don't like Shannon. Let me find out. Let me find out. I'm gonna be
I'll send you a list. I'll send you a list.
I to talk to these people, but no, because I was thinking of that. I was like, all right, if they had a season 2, and usually with season 2 with these, primetime shows, and I'm gonna say with Malibu Shores because I could see Malibu in the beginning of season 2, just me would have that kind of going up against other shows, so they would need to increase their guest cameo a little bit.
Yeah,
and so I was thinking about that. I was like, all right, if they did a season 2, who from 90210, Melrose Place, even because that was getting close to the W premiere, like who from South, and I think seeing Malibu Shores for a simple, story arc or something like that. Jamie Lerner, I'm sorry.
I bet if it would have been on the W, it would have lasted a few more, maybe 2 seasons.
If they had it on Fox, I feel like it would have lasted longer.
NBC, I don't know.
I don't think it would.
I'm not even going to talk about NBC. I'm still pissed about Cruel Intentions.
So is Candice.
I did talk about that long time. We're talking about that's going to be another show right now. I'm telling you, I was really thinking about like if they did hold out to when the WB first came out. You're right. They had Savannah, which didn't last long, and I can understand why. Sorry.
You don't like Savannah?
I liked this Savannah. I didn't love it. Okay, I want to tell you that they should have flipped networks.
They should have what?
They could have flipped networks. I could see Savannah on like a Fox or a MC.
Yeah.
So, but I understand what they were trying to do. You know, they were trying to get in that audience that was over on Fox, but they were dropping, so they had to pick them up WB. But I did see Malibu Shores over on the WB, even UPN.
What I think what they were trying to do was Savannah was like the WB's first hour drama. And I think that they thought that Aaron Spelling could do for the WB what he did for Fox with 90210. So that's why they were like, we'll have Savannah, it'll be Aaron Spelling show. And it'll be like Melrose Place, but in the South.
Yeah, because at that time he still was cranking out the hits. Like,
I mean, I think also that they should have also had on Central Park West, but that's, you know, again, another.
People do an Aaron Spelling show, a soap opera at least. I feel like if they cancel it too soon, that's when they miss the mark, because it takes his shows at least half a season to truly get good.
Yeah.
I mean, if we would have gave up on Melrose, we wouldn't have had seasons 2 through 5. I'm just saying.
And if you think about it, like with Malibu Shores, I mean, obviously, you know, when it was canceled, it sucked. And if you're the MMC fan, it was like, oh gosh, Tony and Carrie, okay, we'll go. But you think about the fact that the following year, Sunset Beach came out. Mm-hmm. And you had Randy, you had Susan Ward, you had let me see, who else did you have from that? You had some people who guest cameo, and then of course you had people like Watts.
We had Cindy Walsh from 90210 played Susan Ward's mom.
And you had some people that was, you know, from the Aaron. That's what I actually liked. You know, people talk about the DC Marvel universe, about how they always crisscross and everything, but
we have the Aaron Spelling universe.
Right. I mean, like literally people from each show that did was on a show, was on one of his other shows that went on to their own show.
If he liked you, he used you.
Aaron Spelling was, as a kid, I looked up to, like, I wanted to be like the next Aaron Spelling, because I remember when he died, my mom was like, Aaron, come here. She set me down. She's like, Aaron Spelling died. I was like, oh my God.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was hard. And, you know, when I went to California, I went to the Hollywood, you know, Walk of Fame, and I wanted to find his star. I did. I sat and I actually said, thank you. I'm talking to the star. Now, keep in mind, people are looking at me like I'm probably crazy, but I said, thank you, because other than Erna Phillips, Aaron Spelling was a part of my life, you know, my upbringing as well. You know, going back to me, my grandmother, you know, their shows, obviously, Always Angel, I mean, Vegas, you know, Hotel, you know.
Fantasy Island.
Oh, you had all these shows that was rich and lavish, and he was just like, you like, for somebody like Aaron Spelling to pump out all of these iconic, and you don't use that word a lot with some people, but it was iconic. Each decade he had something so iconic that you're still watching. I mean, we're still watching, you know, 90210. We'll still be watching Melrose Place, Malibu Shores. We're still watching the shows that were from decades ago, years ago, and saying, who's going to be to do that? And sadly, I mean, there's only one Spelling, and thank goodness for that. You know, you can't have a duplicate. Now, if they would like to bring Malibu back on Amazon,
I would have actually loved it if Tori would have like stepped into his footsteps and like continued his legacy producing Spelling shows. I think that would have been cool.
I would
and she could have starred and produced in them.
Yeah, I mean, not to take anything away from Tori, but Tori, you know, she did her thing. Randy's doing his own thing too.
I bet if they would have put some music in Malibu Shore, him singing, we'd probably have more Malibu Shore.
You know, if they had a season 2, they would have had some kind of space where they would have had bands every week, like the Peach Pit.
Oh yeah. called, and I already had the name of it. Sure.
I don't love the opening credits because I do love a dramatic turnaround.
Like
And the opening credits is like clips of the show. I don't really love that.
So you don't like where you had like Carrie's hair blowing and then Tony's like looking like, and then Greg Vaughn walking to the window.
I do love that.
Yeah.
Still, I can't help it.
So maybe I could have had a mix of both. Maybe they could have had like the actors doing their dramatic turnarounds and in between have clips.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I want my evening moment to be like this. You know, Kelly and Tori. I love their little. My cousin and I. When
I'm like, what? What are you
my
doing?
cousin and I, we would like hug, and then we would do the whole little arm thing every time.
Well, remember that's what Chloe and Nina did the whole like pink thing.
Uh-huh.
The turn. They could have ended like dun, 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 dun. Like that. I don't know. They would have done something like that. Would have been awesome.
I guess they didn't want to. They want to be an obvious 90210 ripoff.
This is really making me want to work in television.
Hey, look. Hey, what? I mean, shoot. I think we all should. We should definitely. I'm smelling a hit. This is a hit right here, folks.
Too.
So Candice, I recently started listening to Forever and a Day for the first time. I'm on episode 5. Have I heard news that there might be a season 3?
Yes, there's a season 3 coming February.
February? All right, so I have time to catch up.
Can I have a part? No, I'm just kidding.
You know, so funny though. Before to season 3, we have a Thanksgiving episode that's coming out in November.
I love soaps, and I write my own soap. I want to turn it into like what Forever and a Day is. That's my goal now, is to turn mine into that. So I'm
Do it.
Of you.
Do it.
I don't know enough people.
Well,
I mean, I can hook you up with somebody. I can hook you up with some people. Like, you know, my people call you, but your people call my people.
I told Tommy, I was like, Tommy, I may need you to become an actor. He's like, I've never done it before. He's like, I don't care.
I'm like, I could be a hand model.
It's still a shock to me that first that, you know, people are listening to something that we created. They have amazing cast. I mean, that our ideas are on a script. These actors are reading it. They're doing their voiceover work, and people are listening to it, and and you guys are enjoying it. You know, and I know there's some, you know, and I always say this. I know a true soap fan will understand this. There's always more bad, good, but
it's about the journey.
It's yeah. There's no words. That tells you it's no words, but it's amazing journey. And I'm happy about.
Well, thanks for coming on, Candice. This was like so much fun.
And I have an idea. Know what we should do?
What?
Tommy keeps asking why I want to be on TikTok. We should create like our own Emerald Cove, like a 30-second soap opera.
And this is the thing I would tell people is that if you want to know why we're still talking about Malibu Shores, it's 96, 2021. This show
years.
actually, yes, oh God.
We don't do math on this show. We don't do math. Math does not exist.
We were babies,
Right.
so it wasn't that bad. We were babies when it was on.
Yeah. Thanks, Tommy, for that. Okay. But no, some of the stuff that was said on Malibu Shores and some of the teen angst, it still is kind of, still there. I mean, feeling like an outsider. I'm already out. I'm trying to get that attention, trying to figure out who you are when you have to be somebody else in front of your group of friends versus who you truly are in front of your family. And it's a really good show. And like I said, Aaron Spelling, you cannot go wrong with an Aaron Spelling show, point blank. So,
I mean, and they talked about things that I think a lot of shows may not. I mean, bulimia is something they don't talk about too often in teen shows.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the last episode of that I remember them talking about it was Rossi.
Degrassi always went there.
Yeah. Well, wasn't that their tagline? We go there. We go there.
Oh, they did. Not take. All right.
But all right, Candice, thank you for coming on.
Thank you
Not
so much.
And
Thank
hopefully
you
we
guys
can do
for
this
having
again soon.
Yes, definitely. And you guys continue doing your thing. You guys are amazing.
Oh, thank you, Candice.
Thank you so much.
Bye.